Good morning, my friend. Would like to say thank you for opening my eyes and changing my perspective on using a digital calendar. It has proven to be so helpful and beneficial. It saves me so much time. I would like to offer you a free training session on me to show you my appreciation and gratitude. Welcome to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Bello with chrisbello.com. And today we're going to be talking about how focus is a superpower. It is something that is harder and harder for us to unlock many times because we are so distracted. We've got all kinds of notifications, all kinds of priorities, all kinds of goals in many cases, sometimes too many goals. And focus is something that we all actually do have inside, but it's something that we kind of have to harness more effectively. And some people are better at it than others. And so it's like that superpower that is within, but just some people haven't figured out how to access it just yet. They get too distracted. Getting into flow is something that's very few people can do consistently and on demand. It's something that maybe is haphazard or sometimes it happens, but it's not consistent or predictable. One flow tip that I have for you is to stop answering phone calls entirely. And I know this sounds crazy. You're probably thinking this is insanity, but before you do that, just hear me out. So by not answering your phone, I will admit that yes, you may lose some business, but if you get as many spam calls as I do, I've tried answering a few phone calls just to see what happens, and I am usually disappointed. It's not that $1 million client lead on the phone in most cases. Now, maybe that does happen from time to time, but I feel like if that were the case, especially for a referral, I tell people to do a group text referral. So this situation would never even happen for me. Here's how my system works. I'll talk about it. I'll talk about the pros and the cons, some options that you may want to consider. And you can, of course, take what you like and leave what you don't. So I do hear stories of people who have picked up leads by just answering phone calls in different real estate groups. For example, people ask, hey, how did you get your last listing? How did you get your last buyer? And someone was like, from answering the phone, and it had a bunch of likes because, the jokes that I see in the Facebook groups are that a lot of real estate agents just don't answer their phone anymore. And I would argue that it's not even just real estate agents, it's people in general, because we are all so freaking spammed out. I get so many text messages, calls. I get put into like 3 group texts that are just 20 phone numbers, so much spam out there, and it's becoming overwhelming. So I think most people can resonate with that. And while I don't really personally answer a whole lot of unknown phone calls anymore, it could be important to do so. But I would say that you don't have to necessarily be the one to do that. You can have a couple of options here. Maybe you can have an assistant who answers phone calls during business hours, and you can have a tool such as CallRail, 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 where you can have multiple numbers that route to actual personal cell phones, and you can do round robin and different things like that, depending on how big your team is. You can even do something free and basic like a Google Voice number. All unknown numbers that call me, all unsaved numbers, go straight to voicemail. But if someone does call my Google number that I use on certain websites for marketing and stuff, that will come through because it shows Google number is saved in my phone as a contact that can actually come through. So for anyone who calls that number, I will actually get the call. So just giving you some ideas on how you can handle this if you've been struggling with this scenario as well. You can also outsource to a company that does this. When I went to the Carrot Camp real estate event in May 2021, one person mentioned a tool that I wrote down. I had to pull up my notebook because we got a little notebook at that event. And I remember writing this down. I wanted to share it with you. It's not something that I've personally used, but he did say he highly recommended it at that time. And this place is called voicenation.com, VOICE nation.com. And apparently they do 24/7 live answering 365 days a year. There's 100% US based agents. So people who are based in the US who are, I guess, 100% fluent in English. And that does make a difference when you are doing customer service calls in the US. People can kind of tell when you're outsourcing things to another country. Maybe they're not getting the same level of service, or you can't quite, understand 100% all the time. And a lot of people get frustrated when they're having to deal with a call center in another area with people who don't really necessarily have the same nuances and language patterns and things like that. Like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's just in terms of quality and service, a lot of times conversion rates are higher if someone seems and appears to be based in the US, because it's just the perception is that it's more legit, that it's someone local, if that makes sense. So Voice Nation is the site that he talked about. It looks like they've got multiple plans. I just, as of this recording, the plans that I saw range from the basic plan, which is $59 a month for 20 minutes, all the way up to the enterprise plan, which is $889 a month for 600 minutes or 10 hours. And again, you can have a phone number. So if someone calls that number 24/7, 365, you can have someone from a company like Voice Nation answer the phone, go through a script, weed out and determine, is this a legit lead? What questions do they have? Or is this spam or junk? In which case you could say no actions required, or just send me an email. I'm not sure exactly how it works again, since I haven't used it. But this is the solution I'm going to share real quick. The solution that's been working for me, in case you're interested in modeling it, or again, take what you want and leave the rest. It's really up to you on your preferences, what you think is valuable. But the way I have it set up is where my phone, any unsaved numbers, they can't even get through to me anymore. I've got like a work setting or a productivity setting on the phone, and unsaved numbers go straight to voicemail. I've had people try to call me twice. I've turned off the function where people who call twice within a 2 or 3 minute window, whatever it is, usually like that's an emergency or something and they can get through, but people know that this is the case. So they'll try to call you 2 or 3 times in a row to get through that. So I just removed it entirely. I do allow my favorites on my phone, such as my immediate family members, my mom, my dad, my brothers, and my fiance. Those are the only people who can call me at any time of the day, any ungodly hour, because those are the people I will answer the phone for. And they've never abused it. If they ever did, that might change, right? But no one's ever abused it. I don't wake up from my sleep. Knock on wood, haven't had an emergency I've had to respond to or anything at a crazy hour. And usually most things are not emergencies. I think most people live in one false emergency after another. And so when you have this setup, it forces people to play by your rules. So again, unsaved numbers go to voicemail. My voicemail tells people, hey, you reached Chris. I can't make it to the phone right now. Please text me. It doesn't even say leave a voicemail. It's like, for the quickest response, please text me. If this is regarding a property you're looking to buy or sell, please text me the address as well, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Now, those who do leave a voicemail, I do listen, and those who text me get replies. And if it is legit, I save their number in my phone so that if they do call again in the future, or if we're going to be working together on a transaction, I can answer their call. If I feel like it, of course, usually I'm in a Zoom call or I'm doing something. I'm at the gym, I'm in the sauna. So I'm not just going to stop everything I'm doing to answer a phone call. I still typically send it to voicemail, but at least they get the royal treatment of hearing the phone ring 4 or 5 times before they go to voicemail, instead of just going straight to voicemail, which I know can be frustrating when you're trying to call someone. At the same time, I respect other people's time. I want them to respect mine, and I'm not a 24/7 call center. That's kind of how I see it. And I never really call missed calls back because there's too many spam calls. Like I mentioned before, it's just not worth it to me. I have tried doing the roulette thing, the phone call roulette, where okay, what's this random number calling me? It's a Houston area code. I've got business in Houston. Let me answer and check it out. Spam, spam, sales pitch, spam, like so many times. Very rarely do I get a lead. And even if it is a lead of some sort, it's usually someone asking a question about a listing where all the answers and the information is completely online available for them. At which point, if I send them to my voicemail, they text me about a listing, I have saved texts where I can just type the name of the street and it'll auto populate a link to the listing in the multiple listing service, or MLS. So I have everything automated, super dialed in. I don't want to be wasting time repeating steps and answering questions, where I can just do copy, paste, here you go, copy, paste, here you go, over and over again, to get back to people and get back to my areas of focus as quickly as possible. So if someone is legit, like I mentioned, I do save their number on my phone. So if they do call again in the future, I may, like if I have nothing going on and I'm listening to music and maybe just like casually typing an email to my list and the phone's ringing, I've got time, okay, I may answer it. But again, like I mentioned earlier, if I'm in the middle of something, if I'm in my flow state, my phone's on silent, it's face down in the corner, I can't even see if the phone's ringing right now. I wouldn't even know. And I like it that way, so that I'm not constantly being interrupted. And you should do this too, so you can maintain your focus on your highest priority task, one task at a time. And a lot of people will actually likely text you. If they go to voicemail, they text you, you text back, maybe you do a quick phone call, Going forward, they'll most likely text you because the text conversation has been started and established. And that's how it'll go from there. It'll be a lot more convenient than calling back and forth to answer questions or ask questions that could be answered in a single text message. And then my thoughts, as I've mentioned before, if you've been a listener for some time, I do focus a lot on attraction marketing. I create content. I'm on other podcasts. I'll make videos and posts and share on my story and all of that. And people who do reach out usually do so because of my call to action at the end of an episode. I'll say, connect with me here, go to this website, where people find my website and they end up on my email list. They read my emails, they listen to my podcast. And people who want to connect with you will jump through hoops to do so, because that's the beauty of attraction marketing. They want to work with you, so they're going to take the steps required to do so. And so people who try to call me 5 times in a row to get past my voicemail, they're not going to get through. They're actually going to kind of piss me off, and I will be less likely to even want to answer the phone ever for them, even if they turn out to be legit. But if they follow my steps and they book a call and they text me and they do those things, I'll be way more open. And so my hack for you is that scheduling is the best way to do this. I've talked about Calendly several times before. It is my favorite paid tool still. And if you combine that with Zoom, you can do really cool things, because I can send links out to everyone, whether it's a 15-minute phone call or Zoom call or podcast interview, 30-minute call, 60-minute call. Really, the options are endless. And people can schedule that and immediately get a Zoom link sent to them in the calendar invite, so that I'm not having to think about it. I'm not having to look at it or anything like that. And the example I will share with you is let's see here. If you go to chrisbello.com/links, I'm going to pull it up real quick. chrisbello.com/links. That will redirect you. And I will share my screen if you were watching this on YouTube. So chrisbello.com/links redirects you to my link tree, and my link tree allows people to quickly connect with me. It's got my Instagram at the very bottom. It's got Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook page, and the only 4 options. This is really dynamic. I can log into Linktree and change this at any time. The only 4 options are to A, download my complete life tracker, B, hire Chris as a real estate agent or for coaching, C, I'm holding numbers up for my fingers while telling letters, so this is kind of throwing me off. C, or 3, listen to the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast. And most recently, join the Arate Syndicate was another one for those who are interested. I think the enrollment is closed at this time, but if you're interested, you can check that out too. They open and close enrollment every now and then. So the first one is my complete life tracker. If you're looking here, this is my logged in version. This will look a little bit different if you're logging in from your computer, because I have the admin login into my WordPress site. And that is my free download to grow my email list, to add value to people for free. It's a cool little download. If you check it out, chrisbello.com/free. The next one is for people to work with me. They can book a call with me, read my reviews. If they're interested in real estate coaching, that's there. They can see my Instagram for my real estate page, as well as some notices that I'm required to display if I'm talking about real estate. And then the Linktree option for the podcast allows people to go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or ask me a question. And to be completely transparent, I actually created 3 free. I'm kind of cheap with stuff until I see the value, and then I decide to pay, like Calendly and Zoom. So I have 3 free Linktree accounts with separate emails. So I have my real estate email for this main. Actually, I think this is maybe my main email. My real estate email is this KW one with my brokerage that I'm with. And then the other one is for my EMP show, which is the Entrepreneur Motivation Podcast, of course. So those are my 3 different link trees within the main link tree. So my link tree links to other link trees. How cool is that? But I wanted to show you how easy it is for people who want to connect with me. I've got a couple of notes here. I'm just pulling them up to make sure I cover everything I want to. But here's what I'm trying to show you. If you're looking at the screen, if you're seeing the link tree, if you go to chrisbello.com/links, these are the 4 steps. So that would be the first one. You see my page to connect with me. And this link is also in my bio on social media and on LinkedIn. This is what I put in for the website field. I don't even put chrisbello.com anymore, because this is a little easier for people to quickly connect with whatever it is they want to do or get. They can get it here. So the first step is chrisbello.com/links, or they click the link in my bio, which takes them to my link tree. The second step is if they want to hire me, if they want to work with me, they want access to me, they click on that. That's 2 steps. The next step, book a 15-minute free intro call. And then the fourth step would just be like literally signing up here in Calendly. And there are a couple of fields required: first name, last name, email, best phone number. What do you need help with exactly? Which city and state do you live in? Or are you looking to buy or sell real estate in? So this is only for real estate. I don't let people just book me to pick my brain and things like that. And I mean, sometimes I do, but I'll send them a separate link. It's very clear if someone clicks on this link that they need to want to work with me in real estate for me to take this call. And then there are about 5 steps if people want to do coaching with me. So if I'm showing you the screen or talking through this, whether you're watching the video or listening to the podcast, they click on Hire Chris, or first they'd go to Linktree. That's step 1. Step 2 is Hire Chris. Step 3 is real estate coaching. Step 4 would be to read like my little page in my free sales letter on the free training and scroll down and click sign me up at the bottom. And once they drop their email, they'll get the email with the link to the Calendly, which would be step 5. So there are more steps. There are more hoops for them to jump through. But when I do that, people are more likely to take things seriously, to take action on the steps that I suggest and that kind of thing. So there's another example here I will share on my screen and talk through real quick. Here's a link that I do send out to people. It is that link that you saw through Linktree as well. So I've got different text shortcuts in my phone. If I type in 15 MIN, 15 minutes, or maybe I think that's this one, I believe, there's different codes, and I'll occasionally type them and guess them because I forget. And sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm wrong, but you can do text shortcuts where 15 MIN can auto-populate the Calendly text or the full link to get people to this option here where they can schedule time with me. 30 MIN is 30 minutes. There's 30 MIN phone. Actually, I don't even think I have a 30-minute phone call option. It's either 15-minute phone call, 15-minute Zoom, 30-minute Zoom, 1-hour Zoom, and then a podcast Zoom, which is an hour by default. But the fields there ask people questions on what's your preferred duration of an interview, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, that kind of thing. So we can be flexible on the time. So I wanted to show you that as well. I think we covered that. I shared my screen. If you want to watch the YouTube video, you can kind of see what I just shared with you there. And the system works if you work it. So the beautiful part of this system and why I use it is that it really checks to see who's serious about actually working with me and who's willing to move forward. I sometimes do go outside of this, like if someone calls and I answer and they want to work with me and we didn't do the initial Zoom call, I didn't send them a Calendly link. I go out of my system rarely, and sometimes I regret doing so. It's not as effective because people who tend to prefer phone calls want to call you for everything and ask you multiple questions, and they don't like doing text messages. They're not a fan of email. They want to call for every little thing. And I'm just making generalizations here, I know, but when I have someone who is willing to text, they text me, I send my Calendly link, they schedule the time, it's on my calendar, they're on my email list, they read my emails, they stay in touch with the process. That works a lot better for me and for them. And we get better results in a framework that we both are happy with in terms of a communication style that matches up well. And a lot of people who are tech savvy tend to prefer the same, communication methods as me: text messages, emails, maybe some Zoom calls every now and then, if necessary, with screen shares and all of that. And the communication cadence is on the same page. And maybe I would even say these clients tend to be a little less needy than those who want to be able to just pick up the phone and get answers at all hours of the day, which doesn't really work with my ideal version of how I'd like to operate in my business. But ultimately, it is up to you. What is it that you want? This, for me, helps streamline things. As I've mentioned before, people can literally pick a day and time that integrates with my schedule in real time. So if you book me, I am available at that time and I will show up. The joke that I tell my friends is that it's like the little Batman signal in the sky. If you use my Calendly link, if you schedule the time, I will show up. If you try to call me 10 times today, I may not answer, and I probably won't call back, especially if no one left me a voicemail or texted me. And what this avoids is the phone tag of me trying to call you, you trying to call me texting you asking what time works better, this time on this day or that time on that day. I don't want to do all the back and forth. This takes it straight to the point, from a single link to a scheduling, 2 steps instead of 5 to 10 or however many it typically takes. Now, if you do want to check out Calendly, I have highly recommended this many times before, and it is something I pay for. If you go to chrisbello.com/calendly, that will redirect you there. Full disclosure, it is kind of an affiliate link. I signed up for their affiliate program finally after sending like 20 million people there. Not 20 million people, maybe more like 10 people that I know who are paying for the premium version and have seen the value. I've sent them their way. And I guess it's even worth flashing up a text. I'll do a little screenshot. I got a text from my personal trainer that I've worked out with here a few times in Colorado. It was really cool because I first told him about Calendly a while ago. I think there was an option to schedule a time on his website, or I had to manually coordinate with him. When I reached out to him initially, and I was like, dude, you got to check out Calendly. It's a game changer. They have a free option. It's going to change your life. Out of the blue, my last message to him, just to give you an idea, he replied to an email I had. Great email, brother. This was in February 9th. We had a couple messages back and forth. I think I did book a time, 1 or 2 sessions with him through Calendly, but we had not texted since February of 2022. And then I get this message on Wednesday, May 25th, 2022, literally months later. It says, "Good morning, my friend. Would like to say thank you for opening my eyes and changing my perspective on using a digital calendar. It has proven to be so helpful and beneficial. It saves me so much time. I would like to offer you a free training session on me to show you my appreciation and gratitude. Please use the following link to schedule a session." Winky face. And it's a Calendly link. I'll flash it up on the screen for those interested. But it's really cool to see. And I said, Hey, Joel, I tell so many people that Calendly is my favorite software tool I've used so far. I'm so glad to hear you're also seeing the massive benefits. I really appreciate the offer and will certainly take you up on that. And so I haven't booked it just yet, but it's on my list of to-dos because he charges like $100 an hour, $100 per training session. So that's pretty cool just to see that the value is coming back from me recommending a product. He's probably still using just the free version alone because of the nature of his business. He has one type of session, a 1-hour training session. Here's his availability. That's all you need. But if you want to do the premium version, it gets a little more intense. Like if I were to show you my Calendly, which actually I'll share my screen again. So you really should watch the YouTube video for this one because there's some great stuff I'm going to be sharing here. But if I share my screen and you see all the different types of Calendly events that I have, I've got a lot of them. Some of them are hidden, some of them are not. I've tried some things out that didn't work. I turned them off, I turned them on. But to give you an idea of the premium version, I've got automation and delegation for real estate agents. I've got my paid training, the leveraged agent, which is a 3-hour training. Mastermind fit discussion is a 20-minute call for those interested in talking about my mastermind. I've got a few that I've turned off. I tried doing, Living a Life by Design, Life Automation Academy. I've toyed around with a couple of different trainings. But as I scroll down, you can see I've got an intro real estate call with Chris. That's 15 minutes. A buyer or seller referral intro call if I'm going to talk to a realtor that I'm going to send a lead to just to connect with them. And there's different things, right? So if I look at, let's say I'm talking to a realtor, I'm going to send them a deal, but I want to make sure they're going to pay me a referral commission. I have different rules. They can only book me 3 days into the future. And let's say that they book me on this date at 1 p.m. You can see the fields are asking for first name, last name, email, best phone number. I have a 25% referral fee and we'll be sending a referral agreement via Loop, which is the program I use. Should my referral decide to work with you, do you agree to this, yes or no? So I capture that in writing, more or less, through their email. So if for any reason they were to dispute this or try to refuse to pay, I could show their broker and say, look, when we had this conversation on this date at this time, they agreed that they would be willing to pay me that referral fee. So it's kind of like in writing in a way. And then out of curiosity, I'm just wondering how many closings they had in 2021, just how many clients they've helped to get a feel for how experienced they are. So that's one meeting type. And then I've got something like a 15-minute Zoom call that I can share with you here too, where if you go there, it's more availability, but I don't let anyone book me on Fridays and Sundays by design. I just like having Fridays kind of clear so I don't feel like I have all these appointments. Sundays is just a day to recharge before the week, but I am open to taking some calls on Saturday, as you will see from the blue numbers in Calendly. And this has different fields. This is a little more basic because it's just a quick first initial intro call. First name, last name, email, phone number. What would you like to talk about? Buying or selling a house? how we can do business together, or other. It's usually one of the first two. Rarely, I don't think I've ever seen anyone really type anything into other. A few salespeople have found this and tried to pitch me, and I've done it. I've jumped on the call. It's 15 minutes. So it's not like I'm wasting a whole bunch of time, but I'll hear them out. I'll tell them I'll think about it in most cases. And that's kind of how it works, right? So someone mentioned recently that everyone deserves a 15-minute call. Not everyone deserves like a whole day. That was pretty eye-opening to me. So I've been a little more open to like, hey, I know this dude's going to pitch me. It's just a sales call. Let me, I think I mentioned this several episodes back. Let me just take this call, see what he has to say, and then we'll go from there. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. Worst case, it's literally 15 minutes on my computer that I'm already on. I'm not like wasting or losing a bunch of time here. So if you are interested in checking out Calendly, go to chrisbello.com/calendly. And I said maybe it's an affiliate link because it's supposed to be. I signed up for their program, but then they took away their affiliate program. So full disclosure, if you do get the premium version and I get any commissions, I may get commissions, I may not, just depending on when you are taking action on this, but it won't be at any extra charge to you. That's just their way of thanking me for kind of sending them some traffic and some people. And again, as you saw, if you looked at my screen, which I shared, I am a paying member. I have been for probably 2+ years at this point. And I can't ever see myself not paying for it and trying to go back to the free version, because clearly I'm using it and it is an integral part of my current system that I talked about on this episode. So make sure to like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts if you haven't already. Like, what are you doing, right? Make sure you download these episodes and leave a review and do all that good stuff. Refer it to a friend who may find this information valuable. If you have any questions at all, feel free to drop it below in the YouTube video. I'll be sure to make subsequent videos to answer any other questions if there are any topics that come up, or any trends that I see in the comment section below. But with that said, thank you so much for your time. I look forward to connecting with you on a future video and answering any questions you have in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time. Thanks so much.